Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Fast Breaker Tundra Baller. I'm Mario Duenas, aka Tundra Baller. We got more in-season content coming to you guys, and let's get things started. Just like last episode, we have a lot of things to talk about. We have some more in-season content, like I said, and we have a lot more news to talk about. And if you guys don't know already, if you guys have been listening in the last 6 episodes, I'm a huge Clipper fan. I am a season ticket holder for the Wall at Intuit Dome, the home of the LA Clippers, their new arena. So if you guys have ever seen the free throw distractions at Intuit Dome during Clipper games, I am those people. So if you guys are wondering about that. So let's not waste any time and let's talk about the biggest NBA news that has happened over the last week or so. So you guys, I might have heard, Ja Morant, he got suspended for 1 game. So last Friday night on Halloween. So on Halloween, it was the start of the Emirates NBA Cup games. So the in-season tournament. So it's pretty much just this promotional thing that they've been doing for a few years now. And you could pretty much win this big trophy, just like the NBA championship at the end of the season. But the players, they get a pretty much a pay bonus, a big amount of money. And then they get all the fame and stuff, you know what I mean? So it was last Friday night on Halloween. The Grizzlies play against the Lakers. The Lakers won by 5, 117 to 112. Luka Doncic returned for the first time after being out for 3 games with a leg contusion. He was out for about a week. He finished the game with 44 points. He led the Lakers in scoring and the whole game. But Ja Morant, on the other side for the Memphis Grizzlies, he struggled all night. He finished the game with 8 points and 7 assists in 31 minutes played. He shot 3 for 14 from the field, which is 21%, and missed all 6 of his three-pointers. He's been really struggling on his threes to start off the season. He has been about 21%. And the Lakers, they brought their lead to 4-2. With that win, and the Lakers fell to 3-3. Well, the Lakers, they're now 5-3 because they beat the Trailblazers last Monday night. In a post-game press conference, Morant looked like he was really frustrated with the coaches, and when he was asked what the team could have done differently to win the game and do better, he responded with, according to them, talking about the coaches, probably don't play me, honestly. That's what basically the message was. It's cool. When he was asked about other questions, pretty much other stuff related to what they could have done better, he pretty much told them to ask the coaching staff and didn't give a direct answer. And then there was this story, according to ESPN senior NBA insider Shams Charania, there has been tension between Morant and first-year head coach Tomas Isolo. In the locker room after the Laker game, Isolo called out Morant's leadership and effort in front of the whole team. So pretty much just trying to hold him accountable because he is the leader of this team besides Jaren Jackson Jr. And Morant has been in other controversies and other suspensions. So you guys probably heard also that he pretty much flashed a gun twice on Instagram Live. One on his own Instagram Live and another time with his friend. His friend was live. So with the things that was happening in the locker room, he responded with something that was inappropriate according to the team. It wasn't specified of what was said. But what we know is that Isolo was pretty much just calling him out on his leadership and his effort on things. So, in response to that, the team decided to suspend Morant for 1 game, which he served last Sunday against the Raptors. So, the Raptors, they beat the Grizzlies without Ja Morant, 117 to 104. RJ Barrett led the game in scoring with 27 points with 10 for 19 shooting. So he was above 50%. Then Brandon Ingram added at 26 points in 10 for 15 shooting for the Raptors. And with Morant suspended, Jaren Jackson Jr. led the Grizzlies with 20 points. So with the other NBA news that we have Trae Young. This is a really big injury that happened. So a week ago today, against the Brooklyn Nets, Atlanta Hawks star point guard Trae Young. He is a really good player, by the way. He would just shoot from downtown and make them. But he suffered a sprained MCL in his right knee after his teammate Mohamed Gay fell on his leg in the first quarter. That is just really unfortunate. It's just really unlucky that this happened. But in a statement from the Hawks the next day, an MRI confirmed that there is no more damage besides the sprained MCL. So that is good that he didn't tear his ACL because he would have been out for a long time, and that's a bigger injury, big-time injury. And he will be reevaluated in approximately 4 weeks. So with a Ja Morant situation, I hope everything goes good for the Grizzlies because they do have a lot of potential. The West is just a really, really tough conference right now, especially with the East. Some of their stars are injured right now. Like Jason Tatum, he's going to be out for at least most of the year. Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers, he's going to be out the whole year, confirmed already. And it's just a lot of injuries, so we'll see how this goes. And for Trae Young also, we'll see how they do without him. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. They have Kristaps Porzingis, Onyeka Okongwu, and they have other weapons too. So we'll see how this goes. So for the player spotlight that we have today, so I'm thinking of probably doing a player spotlight for one player every episode. So today, the guy that I've chosen is VJ Edgecombe. He is the third overall pick this year in this year's draft, and he plays for the Sixers, and he's been doing really, really well. And I was looking at his backstory, and it was very unfortunate. So this could be an inspiring story for all of us to learn from. So, as I said, he was a third overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers, and they have a stacked team already. They have Paul George, Joel Embiid, Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey. That is a scary lineup. With all of them healthy, they could be number one maybe. But they still have to deal with injuries. Paul George, he's hurt right now, and he's going to be out for an extended amount of time. Joel Embiid, he has been pretty much in mid-restrictions, so he hasn't played in full games. Maybe about half, 20-something minutes, but not like 35 minutes a night. But back to DJ Edgecombe. So he's from the Bahamas, and he became the 10th player in NBA history to get drafted from the Bahamas. From a player born from the Bahamas. So he was born in this group of islands in the Bahamas called Bimini, and he grew up in poverty. He started playing basketball ever since he was really young, just like everyone else. He played basketball barefoot with his friends, and he didn't have access to a real basketball hoop, so instead, they used this crate that was nailed to a wall as a basketball hoop. So kind of like old school basketball back in the day. So in his interview when he got drafted, he said that they had no electricity and they had to live off a generator for 7 years. And man, that was just very unfortunate. So there was this one day that he attended a basketball camp in the Bahamas that was hosted by fellow Bahamas native and Warriors guard Buddy Hield, a great shooter in the NBA right now. Pretty much just the junior splash brother Stephen Curry. So he played at his camp, and he stood out in front of everyone compared to everyone else. And he was playing against kids that were 2 to 3 years older than him. So he held his own at this camp. So after that, he decided to move to the United States to play high school basketball and chase his dreams of playing in the NBA. So he attended the Victory International Institute in Florida for 2 years. Then he transferred to Long Island Lutheran, which is a school in New York. So he won a state championship his junior year and was selected to play in the McDonald's All-American game. So that's pretty much where all the best high school players play. So that is a very big deal for someone in high school basketball. So he was the third ranked player on the ESPN 100. So pretty much that's pretty much a list where ESPN would rank the best high school players in the nation. For the class of 2024, this is very humbling because I was the class of 2024 in high school, and now like people my age, they're going to the NBA. So, like for example, I'm older than Cooper Flagg by about almost a year or so. I think he was born in December, which is really crazy. But VJ Edgecombe, he's a little bit older than me, but that's still crazy. Like people that are like, I'm 19 years old. Like people 20 years old right now, 19 years old, 18 years old, they're in the NBA. Very humbling, but I'm not going to compare myself because like the saying, comparisons of FIFA joy. But anyways, he had offers such as Baylor, Duke, Alabama, Florida, Florida State, UConn, Michigan, Miami, and St. John's. With all those offers, he committed to play for the University of Baylor. So, in his freshman year, he averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals per game. He led them to a 20-15 record. He won Big 12 Freshman of the Year and made it to the All Big 12 second team. After losing to Cooper Flagg and Duke in the second round, he declared for the 2025 NBA draft. And as I said, he was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers with a 3rd overall pick. And in his first game, he scored 34 points. So after Monday's games a few days ago, he is now averaging 20 points a game, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. So here are his other stat lines after that 34-point performance. So in his second game against the Hornets, he had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. And then against the Magic, 26 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. And then against Washington, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Again, against the Celtics, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. And then against the Nets, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. So he is looking pretty good in the NBA right now. So as of right now, Cooper Flagg, he has been producing, but he's been struggling a little bit. But I think Edgecombe could be the Rookie of the Year here. You know, everybody would be saying Cooper Flagg, he's for sure Rookie of the Year. But I think he has some competition now for that Rookie of the Year award. So we'll see who will win Rookie of the Year. But for now, this may be a hot take. But he is my Rookie of the Year right now, VJ Edgecombe. I'm calling it right now. So yeah, it is great to see, and it was a very inspirational story, and I had a good time learning about this story. So now we're going to move on to the Clippers games. So every week now I'm going to be pretty much covering every Clipper game during the week from last episode to now this episode. Well, from the time I record between the 2 episodes. So I know my last episode was last Wednesday, but I wasn't able to cover the the game Tuesday last week. So we're going to start off with that. So it was Clippers against the Warriors. So they're playing for real this time now. Since they played in the preseason a few weeks ago, the Clippers look really good. They came out with a win. And their bench players, they were pretty much outplaying the Warriors ones. Like Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and the other guys. Besides Jimmy Butler. He didn't play that game. But now, Bradley Beal's still hurt at this time from a back injury. So like the game before, Bogdan Bogdanović is taking his spot in the starting lineup. So like the few games last week, the Clippers had a really slow start again. Like, I know I keep saying this, but this is usually how it goes now. Like, I don't know what's wrong. We really need to set the tone the opposite way. We need to start off good. So the Clippers, we were down 27-12 after the first 8 minutes of the game. The Warriors already made 5 threes. Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry all had 1 made 3 each. Then Quinn Post, I feel like it's always the guy you least expect that would go off against the Clippers. Well, he decided to go off this game, and he hit 2 of them. So that was the 5 threes that they made. So Bogdanović, a guy that's supposed to be a knockdown shooter for the Clippers, he really struggled early and missed his 2 shots. Those misses did not look good. However, the Clippers came back a little bit by responding with a 13-6 scoring run to end the quarter. It could have been a 13-3 run, but Brandon Podziemski hit a buzzer beater in the corner, so it counted. And the Warriors were only up 8 now with a score 33-25. So they pretty much cut the lead by about half. By a little more than half. So in the second quarter, the Clippers slowly came back, and they took the lead at the end of the second quarter with a score of 49-46. They outscored them 24-13 in that quarter. So our defense is there. Our defense is there. We only allowed 46 points in the first half, which is really good in the NBA right now because scoring has really increased over the years. But 46 in today's NBA, that's really good. So third quarter, unfortunately, this is where it went all downhill for the Clippers. It went ugly the second half. It was ugly. Well, offensively, ugly. Defensively, great. So here's everything that went down. So the Clippers, they struggled to make a shot. Like, offensively, it didn't even go our way. Like, I don't know. It feels like every Clipper game that the Clippers are always ice cold at some point during the game. And I guess it went through the whole second half, I guess. So the Clippers, they got a 4-point lead in the first 3 minutes with a score of 57-53. And then the Warriors went on a 25-6 scoring run after that. The Clippers only scored 6 points in 9 minutes. That is extremely bad. So in that span, the Clippers had 7 turnovers, including 2 shot clock violations. Like, you can't do that, guys. Come on. And then they shot 3 for 12 from the field in that span. The Clippers were down 78-63. They only scored 14 points in that quarter. So only 1 more point than the Warriors in the second quarter. So the last quarter, it was the same story. The Clippers tried to come back, but again, they couldn't make a shot. They've been looking good on defense, but they just can't score. So the Clippers, they went 5 for 13 from the field in the fourth quarter. I mean, it is a little better, but still not enough. And the Clippers lost 98-79. So they only scored 27 points in a half. The Clippers should be doing that in a quarter. I feel like the Clippers, they could be a 120 points per game team with the offense that we have. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, Bradley Beal. A lot of guys that could get a lot of buckets. But, although they call everybody on the Clippers the Unction, I mean, there's been our old teams, so, but, it's just haters, So, for stats-wise, the Clippers, as a team, they shot 30 for 82 from the field, which is 36%, and they shot 6 for 33 from the three-point line, 18%. The Warriors, they shot 39 for 86 from the field, 45%, and from three, 17 for 45, which is 37%. Also, the Clippers, they only had 10 assists, which is the fewest that they had in 16 years. Kawhi Leonard was asked about that, and he said that they had too many possessions without multiple passes. I agree on that one because it just looked like, they were down. So they had to jack up threes. So they pretty much had to play more fast pace. And yeah, so for individual stats, Kawhi Leonard with 18 points, 6 rebounds. Ivica Zubac, 14 points, 12 rebounds. And Harden was the leading scorer for the Clippers with 20 points. Jimmy Butler, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Stephen Curry, 19 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. And Quinton Post, 12 points and 8 rebounds. And he finished the game with 4 threes. He went 4 for 7 from 3. So the next game, it was against the New Orleans Pelicans. So it was 3 days later. It was Halloween night. A lot of people were dressed up. And the Clippers were at home. So, of course, I was there at the Dome. It was a pretty fun night of Clippers basketball. People were dressed up for the occasion. It was Halloween, since people were out for Halloween weekend, people would be partying and stuff, but as a dedicated Clippers fan, I decided to be loyal to my Clippers. So I went to the Intuit Dome. So that's how I spent my Halloween, if you guys were wondering. I hope you guys had a good Halloween, by the way. So a lot of people were dressed up at the Dome, and one person in particular, this was pretty funny. One person was dressed up as a blind referee. That was something random, but very creative too. Other people were dressed up as a referee, but this person in particular was a blind referee, which was kind of funny to mock the refs because we always talk about the refs when they make a call that we don't like ref, you suck, or take your whistle and all of those things. But yeah, so Bradley Beal, he's finally back again after a 2-game absence. He started for the Clippers, and they finally had their full rotation healthy again with Bradley Beal back. Against the Pelicans, it always feels like a problem against them. Like, they could play really good against other teams or really bad. So they were at the bottom of the West standings for the last few years. And always against the Clippers, they would always have a problem against us. So the 14 games before this game, the Pelicans won 10 times. I remember one game in particular. So he's on the Nuggets now, but he used to be on the Pelicans. Jonas Valanciunas, when he was on the Pelicans, he hit so many threes against the Clippers. Like, I don't know why. This guy always seems like a problem. No matter where he's at, he could be, I don't know. Right now he's playing for the Nuggets. He was kind of a problem when he was on the Nuggets during the preseason. Well, he's still on the Nuggets now, but he hit a ton of threes one time when he was on the Pelicans and he played against the Clippers. But when he was on the Wizards last year, he wasn't that much of a problem because the Wizards, they were pretty much nothing. They couldn't win any games. They're at the bottom of the league, one of the bottom teams. But hopefully we could lock down Valanciunas. But last season too, another problem that we always had, CJ McCollum, he would hit a lot of threes. Also, Trey Murphy III, he would also hit a lot more threes. And then Zion Williamson, the Showtime dunker guy, and one of the best young stars when he's healthy, in my opinion, we couldn't guard him either. We just can't guard him in the paint. We would just sag off, and he would still get in the paint somehow. But for this game, though, it was a better start compared to the other games. So I was happy about that. They were down a little bit, though, but it wasn't like a double-digit deficit like the last few games. For the second Clippers basket of the game, Derrick Jones Jr. came out of nowhere and dunked it off the Kawhi Leonard's missed three-pointer. So he just came out of nowhere, grabbed a rebound midair, threw it down. The Clippers were playing a lot better than the Warriors game so far, and they were down 2 to end the opening quarter 28-26. So we scored 26 points, which is better, which is almost the one less point than we scored at the half, the Warriors game, because we scored 27 points. The Warriors game. Or no, we scored 30 points. My fault. We scored 30 points that game. So it was almost the amount of points that we scored in one quarter. So the Clippers, they were taking over a little bit as the second quarter went on. Jordan Poole, however, he kept them alive. After being scoreless in the first quarter, he scored 14 points in the second quarter alone. He made 4 threes. So it's just like the Valanciunas situation a few years ago. We have a guy hitting a lot of threes. So in that quarter, he had 4 threes and made 2 free throws. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. For the Clippers, though, the ending ended with a bang. So pretty much it was James Harden and Derrick Jones Jr. versus Jordan Poole. So Jordan Poole hit 3, and then James Harden hit 3. But it was from way downtown, from the probably Sea Bomber's house, from way downtown. And he hit it from the center logo and made it. So I was like, yeah, why not? I had a feeling it was going in. And bang, he made it. Then Jordan Poole responded with his own D3. It wasn't from the logo, but it was from the sideline on the left wing. So the left sideline. And then James Harden, he tried to respond with his own three-pointer again from way downtown, probably from Crypto.com Arena, their old home, aka Staples Center. I still call it Staples Center, but James Harden, he tried to respond with that 3. He missed it, but Derrick Jones Jr. once again came out of nowhere. He grabbed his miss and dunked it to end the buzzer. And the Clippers were up 67. I know what some people would be saying right now, 6-7. But the final score of the first half was 67-59 to end the half. So the Clippers, they went on a roll again to start the second half. They brought their lead to 17 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Then after that, unfortunately, it went downhill. The Pelicans, they are being the Pelicans. against the Clippers. So they were only up 10 3 minutes later to end the quarter. I mean, we still had like a decent lead, but you know the NBA now, no leads are safe. You could be up 20 points and then it could become a tied game within a few minutes. That's just how the NBA is. It's all about runs. So the Pelicans, they kept their momentum with that run they had at the end of the quarter in the fourth quarter and tied it halfway through the quarter. Jordan Poole and Zion Williamson were just taking over. Poole went up to 30 points with 7 threes made in that quarter. So, yeah, it was just crazy. We couldn't guard Jordan Poole. Then Trey Murphy III, he had 5 threes to add to that. The Clippers, they kept fighting, though, and held on to a small lead in the clutch. After a Kawhi Leonard three-pointer, the Clippers were up 122 to 115 with a 7-point lead with a minute 42 left. With the Clippers up 4 with 20 seconds left, Saddiq Bey for the Pelicans, he got fouled. And I think the Clippers drafted him, by the way, but we traded him on draft day. And made both free throws to cut the lead in half, so it was a 2-point game. Then Kawhi Leonard, there was a unforced error, and he lost the ball. He was just pressured by Jeremiah Fears, and then he lost the ball. And I was like, oh my God. Like I said, I was at the game. And I was so stressed after we blew that 17-point lead. It was really, really stressful because I vlog my games too. Pretty much my time there into a dome. I pretty much vlog everything. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on my TikTok, Tundra_baller_0. The vlog is already out by now, so make sure you guys check it out. But yeah, so they call a timeout after Kawhi lost the ball, and then Zion Williamson, he drove it to the rim, and then Ivica Zubac fouled him. I was like, oh my God. Like, this can't be happening. And then he made both free throws, unfortunately, to tie the game. And we didn't call a timeout. We didn't have one. So with 10 seconds left, the Clippers didn't call a timeout. They went down court. Derrick Jones Jr., he brought up the ball, but he fumbled it a little bit, but he recovered. And then Kawhi Leonard, he was like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. He kept calling for a ball. He got the ball, and he drove to the left. He was at the free throw line extended in the mid-range area. He pump fakes, and then he shot it. And guess what? It went in. The Clippers won at the buzzer, 126 to 124. So they now have a 3-2 record. Kawhi Leonard won the game. The second ever time that I saw a game-winning buzzer beater for the Clippers ever. There was unfortunately one time at a playoff game against the Blazers a long time ago. Chris Paul tied the game, and then a dude for the Blazers a long time ago. He went off a buzzer a long time ago during the prime Lob City days. But that's besides the point. Kawhi Leonard, he hit a game winner in front of me last year, and he did it again this year. On Halloween night, he ended a thriller game. It was a horror movie, and we scared the Pelicans off to New Orleans, to their home, to their nest. It was just relieved so much stress because that was a really stressful game. That was probably the most stressful game while we were up. Like the Warriors game, that was a stressful game, and the Jazz game too. But at least we were able to breathe after, because Kawhi won at the buzzer. So for the stats, Kawhi Leonard, 34 points. He had 14 in the fourth quarter. He really took over. he activated takeover mode like in 2K. And he had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals. 5 in the first half. James Harden, 24 points, 14 assists. Ivica Zubac, 14 points, 11 assists. And Jordan Poole, 30 points, and he was 7 for 13 from 3. And Zion Williamson, he had 29 points, 15 at fourth quarter, so he also activated takeover mode, and he shot 11 for 13 from the free throw line. For the final game that we're going to talk about today is last Monday's game, is the Clippers against the Miami Heat. So, Norman Powell, he is a former Clipper, and in the offseason, he got traded to the Miami Heat for John Collins. It was a 3-team deal though, but involved with the Jazz too, so that's how John Collins got here. It was a 3-team deal with the Jazz, Heat, and Clippers. So Norman Powell, this is the first time that he's playing at Intuit Dome since being traded. So this is the first time that he's playing as the opponent in Intuit Dome. And you know what we do against the opponents. We boo them, and we do chants. We go crazy at the free throw line, and all that good stuff. And this is the first time that he's back at the lineup after a 3-game absence since he had a groin injury. And before the game, here's a crazy story. I was walking through the hallways, and I was looking down on my phone, pretty much walking, and then I look up for a second, and Steve Ballmer was about to walk past me. I would say he was probably about maybe like 10, 15, 20 feet away from me, like walking towards me. And I just put my hand out, in front of him saying, "Hey, let's go, Ballmer." And then he high-fived me. I tried to high-five him, and he high-fived me back. And that was probably one of the happiest moments ever. Well, that wasn't the first time, my first ever interaction with Ballmer. I high-fived him about 2 years ago. So, it was pretty much a similar story the other time. But I was at my seat. This was 2 years ago. I was at my seat at a Clipper game, right next to the Clippers tunnel. And he was walking by, and I just had my hand out, and he high-fived me. And that was amazing. And that was a good day also, because I also got a high five from head coach Ty Lue and former Clipper player. He's a Clipper legend. I absolutely love this guy when he was on the team. Mason Plumlee, great player. And although he's a big man, he probably has the best handles ever as a big man, behind Victor Wembanyama. But now going on to the game stuff. The Clippers, they had another slow start. Once again, another very slow start. They were down 12-2. Norman Powell, he had 7 of those points. Or no, I'm sorry. Bam Adebayo had 7 of those points. And Norman Powell had the other 5 points. But the Clippers, they went on a roll afterwards. And they went up at 5 at one point in that quarter. They were up 5 at one point in that quarter. The Clippers, they were down 32-30 after the first quarter. So it was pretty much a high-scoring game. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, we could be a 30-point per quarter team. That's what I think. Or at least almost close to that. Then in the second quarter, there was a lot of back and forth scoring. The Clippers, they were down 7 at one point in that quarter. But the Clippers, they kept fighting, and they got some buckets and some big blocks in that quarter. It looked like they were hosting a block party out there. And the Clippers, they were up 71-66 after a high-scoring first half. So there we go. We scored a lot of points in that quarter. We scored 41 points. So that was a big-time quarter. Probably the most points we scored. That's a season high for us, probably. So the second half is where it all went downhill again. They were turning over a ball so many times. They were losing the ball. They were throwing bad passes. Just a lot of ugly. And they took control of the game, the Heat, and they scored a good amount of points again. They scored 32 points or no, 37 points that quarter. But still, we scored 29 points still. But it was a high-scoring game. And after 3 quarters, it was 103-95. So we allowed 100 points. We got to get our defense better. So the fourth quarter, it was different. Although there were turnovers left and right from the Clippers still, their defense kept them in the game, and they scored some much-needed buckets. They tied the game after the first 2 minutes with a Chris Paul three-pointer. Then now here is the clutch. So this game ended close once again. The Heat were up for 120-116. Then after 2 Bam Adebayo free throws. Then after the timeout, Kawhi Leonard missed a 3, but the Clippers got a stop, and James Harden made a quick three-pointer to cut the lead down to 1 with 20 seconds left. In this situation, the Clippers would need to get a steal or they would need a foul right away on purpose to send the Heat to the free throw line. Since the shot clock is off, it was 20 seconds left. And, if the Heat, they just hold the ball for 20 seconds, the game would be over and the Heat would win. So we need the ball back. So Ivica Zubac, he had 5 fouls. So if he got one more, he would be out for the rest of the game. And before the play started, I was like, you know what? We should not use Zubac in this situation because he has 5 fouls and we need him for sure for offense. If we get a stop, but he was guarding the inbounder, and then Norman Powell, he got the ball from the inbound, and then Zubac ran to Norman Powell. He tried to get the ball, and they called it jump ball. They were fighting for a ball, both of them, and they were doing a jump ball, and this was really, really good. I was like, Zubac, please don't foul. But he forced a jump ball. So this was really good because the height difference, Zubac has a big advantage. Zubac is 7 feet tall. Norman Powell is 6'4", so that's an 8-inch difference. So Zubac easily won the jump ball because he is just that big compared to Norman Powell. And it was tipped to Kawhi Leonard. He took the ball all the way down. They didn't call any timeout. They actually had a timeout this time. So Kawhi, he took the ball all the way down, but he shot a contested 3 on a double team to try to win the game. So imagine Kawhi, 2 buzzer beaters in a row, 2 game-winning buzzer beaters, 2 games in a row. But unfortunately, Kawhi missed it. The shot looked good, but it was short from the right wing. And it was a 3-pointer, so it was the opposite side. And the Heat escaped with a win, 120-119. I feel like that Ty Lue should have called a timeout, because I was like, oh my god, like really? And I don't think Kawhi should have shot the way that he did, because it was right in front of the double team. So he was pretty much sizing the defender up, like he was pretty much dribbling still for about a few seconds, and then a second guy came to double, and then he tried to escape the double, but unfortunately Kawhi Leonard missed. And I feel like we should have gotten a better shot. We were only down 1, so a 3 wasn't really necessary unless the shot was there. But we only needed a 2, or just attack the basket and attack, and maybe we would get a foul or something. But that wasn't what happened. But it was a lot of turnovers. That's what impacted the game. So for the stats-wise, Bam Adebayo, he had 25 points, 10 rebounds. Norman Powell, 21 points. Andrew Wiggins with 17 points. Then on the other side for the Clippers, James Harden, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Kawhi Leonard, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Crazy thing about the 27 points, though, I predicted believe it or not, I predicted how many points Kawhi would score. So I was texting one person before the game. So pretty much the story was that he sent me a post on Instagram about this artwork of Kawhi that somebody made, and I pretty much said like that was really cool and stuff. And I said Kawhi is scoring 27 points tonight. Like literally, and then he said Kawhi is going to score 30. Kawhi would have scored 30 if he made that 3-pointer. And then responding to that, I was like, yeah, probably if Norman Powell plays, because he was questionable going to this game. At this time, I wasn't sure. It wasn't sure yet if Norman Powell would be playing. But literally, I literally predicted how many points Kawhi would score, which is kind of crazy. But Kawhi Leonard, he also twisted his ankle in the fourth quarter. So I'm recording this Tuesday morning, the day before. The day before you guys are going to listen to this live. So for you guys, yesterday, the Clippers are playing as OKC, and they're undefeated. So I'll talk about that game next week for episode 8 of Fast Break with Tundra Baller. But Kawhi Leonard, he twisted his ankle in the fourth quarter, so hopefully he plays. You guys will probably know about this already, but it's also at Intuit Dome, so I'm going to be at Intuit Dome 2 days in a row. So for you guys yesterday and last Monday, but hopefully he plays. But the Clippers, they had 21 turnovers, and they had 16 in the second half. Big difference. Major difference. Like, we really need to clean this up because the Clippers are really being inconsistent right now. They have a 3-3 record right now after the Heat game. Hopefully 4-3 after the OKC game. But OKC, they're 7-0. They're undefeated. But we're going to beat that one team that will beat them. I'm calling it right now. So that is it for today's episode, guys, of Fast Break at Tundra Baller. We are already at episode 7, so that is great. You know, a lot of things to talk about. I'm really enjoying talking about everything I love about the Clippers, and I'm learning a lot from all of the information I'm learning from other things, and I hope you guys would keep enjoying listening to my fandom for the Clippers, because you know, you may not know a lot of Clipper fans, but you know, I'm probably the biggest Clipper fan you know. So we'll have a lot more exciting things to talk about. Hopefully a lot of great news, and all the Clipper games that I'll be talking about next week, it will be all wins, and it will be another great episode. All right, guys, you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys next week.